Hello everyone. Welcome along and welcome to the first round of the Vertex Super Lab series presented by Clockwork Motorsport. This is our first time attack series, and round one is at Road Atlanta, a very famous track in North America, popular for both racing and time attack events. So, as with any time attack series, we do have separate classes for our cars. We have the Clubman, which is basically a light tune series limited to 550 pp on sports medium tires. Modified class, a more heavily tuned cars with a limit of 650 pp on sports soft tires, and of course the unlimited class with no pp restrictions and on racing hard tires. The event will be consisting of 20-minute sessions with only one class on track per session, with each class having two sessions totaling to a 6-session total, which would take roughly about 2 hours. Session goes with Clubman, Modified, and Unlimited, with the same order going around twice. As for the featured track in today's round, the Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, 4.088 kilometer circuit with 12 turns, technically 13 if you look at turn 10A and 10B, with a really long back straight stretching out to 1.275 kilometers. It's going to be a test for all our drivers, as this track is a really fast track, so it just dares everyone to go as fast as they can, especially through turn 1, and most importantly through the back straight, where they'll be met with the heavy braking zones of 10A and 10B. And now we're ready to start. First up is the first session of Clubman. As of course, this is GT7 will be using the in-game qualifying feature timed to 20 minutes. All right, let's let's take a look at our competitors for Clubman. We have Big NFL in a very nice looking Honda Integra. Tim Lore in a Ford Escort, in a well expected Trust Racing livery. Very on brand for him. We have John T in an E30 BMW M3. We have Max McEddy in an E36 BMW M3. Like the BMW M3 is a really popular platform in Clubman just because of how good the base performance of the car is, especially the E36. We have Big Tex in a Honda S2000 and Fausto in what appears to be a Ford Roadster. Now, obviously, regulations for this series only requires cars to be classified as road cars in the game, and clearly the Ford Roadster fits in that category. We're definitely going to see more cars like these as the event goes, with more people bringing more and more varied cars out on track. Definitely want to look out for. As we see Tim, Laura, and John coming up to the line for their first flying laps, setting the pace at a 131.5. Here is Tim Laura. Tex with a 134.5 in the S2000. John with a 132.7 in the M3. Not too far back from Tim Lore, and maybe if they can get close enough to the Ford Escort, he might be able to get a little help from the slipstream. But it looks like the Ford is really going fast today. Fausto not far off with an impressive 134.2. Currently faster than the S2000. NFL comes across the line for 135.2. Max in the E30, in the E46, still looking to set a decent lap time. I doubt that 142 is representative of that car's pace. There's Tim Lord coming back around for a second lap. 131.6. John improves to 132.6, a tenth faster than his previous best. Tex goes faster than 133.9, overtakes the Ford Roadster. Here we go. Max comes across the line for a 134.8, much faster. Now he's starting to get on pace for that car. Oh, we have an off. Big Tex comes off at the outside of turn one. Fausto improves to a session best of a 129.9, 1.5 seconds faster than Tim Lore's Ford. This car is fast. Oh, drifting through the S's here. I thought that'll help the lap time, but that did look cool for a bit. We see a lot of people still struggling to find improvement, trying to push as hard as they can here at Road Atlanta. It's a bit dangerous as we already saw Big Tex go off out of turn one. Thankfully, he only went wide and not towards the barriers. But in these cars with these sports medium tires that don't really offer a lot of grip, it's gonna be quite difficult to find the limits and actually push further than what the tire just allows. But it's also one of the challenging points of the clubman class. Like if you want to build a car with so much power, but it's hard to control, or you build a car that's more on the handling side and that is able to use more of the sports medium tires grip. The NFL improved to a 35 flat, closing the gap to the BMW of Max McEddy, who himself also improves to a 34.2. Tim Lord puts down a personal best of a 131.420. John T also dips down into the 31s with a 31.8. Oh, and goes off out of turn one. Fausto goes even faster with a 129.8, 29.836, a tenth, just a little over a tenth faster than his previous best of a 29.9. Still 1.5 clear of the nearest car, Tim Lord, in 131s. Is John looking to set himself up for a better lap this time? Remember, the last lap he went off at turn one, so he's really finding the limits of that car right now. Aggressively riding the curbs through the S's. Oh, cuts a bit too much of the inside curve there at the end of the S's. But it's purple. He's purple by 3/10 right now. Managed to turn in nicely for the second of the double right-handers onto the back straight. Does that M3 have enough power to keep that lead in the timings? He was 3/10 up in sector one. He's a tenth down in sector two. I'm assuming that's to his personal best. Not quite getting there. Here we see the Ford Roadster down the back straight. Look at the top speed of this car. He's 1.2 off of his personal best right now, but I'm guessing he makes all the time up here in the back straight with that much engine power. I'm assuming that car might be a bit rough to handle, judging by the lap times in comparison to the others, which are more consistent. Especially looking at Tim Lors, he's been running in the 131s pretty much the whole session. NFL now manages to dip down to the 34s with a 34.689. Tim sets another personal best of 131.3. The consistency of that Ford and Tim Lore is amazing. Ever since he was setting down record laps or timed laps, he's been in the 31s consistently. His slowest is a 31.7, and his fastest has been 31.349. However, John jumps ahead of him in the standings with a 131.304, only 45 thousandths of a second between the M3 and the Ford Escort. This is going to be a close battle between these two. Again, first sector, Ford tenths, almost half a second purple. The M3 is. But as we look here, the Roadster peaks up over 200 kilometers an hour down the back straight. Oh, and Tim's gets it back with a 31.0. He's almost close to dropping into the 1 minute 30s. What does John have an answer for? A 32.002 that lap. He's consistently been the fastest driver through sector one. Oh, and overcooked set through the first turn. Goes a bit off road. Those are going to be dirty tires of sports mediums. He has to be patient and not overdrive the car while it cleans the tires off, because GT7, everyone knows, if you go off track on all four tires, those tires are going to be dirty for almost half of the lap. Well, Tim's just finding time right now, little by little. There's only 5 minutes left in this session. He gets close enough, he might get a toe off a big NFL. The Integra up in front of him, going through the final corner. .31 that lap for Tim. Fausto still muscling that handful of a car, just judging by the lap times. It's all over the place, but when it gets that lap, it really, really goes fast. Throwing the backhand right at the end of the S's. Tim going purple to sector one by only 82 thousandths. How about John going through the end of sector one? Almost 4 tenths purple now. Fausto braking at 236 kilometers per hour. So much faster than the Escort, and especially the M3. Max Mechanic improves to 134.1, so close to getting down to the 33s. While Tex improves to 32.6. holding steady to that fourth place. NFL comes into the box and goes straight back out. Here we go. Our top two just within the same frame right now. Tim Lord 264.264 purple right now through sector one. John's not that far off behind. They gain so much time through sector one, but the Ford Roadster with that much engine power just gains it all back to the back straight. Ooh, Fausto getting a bit loose coming into the first turn, but able to set himself up nicely for the S's. Oh, look at that! Nicely caught. That could have been so much worse. Code Brown moment, I assume, for the Ford Roadster. We only have 15 seconds left in the session, and it looks like Tim Lord is going to be able to get just one more lap. Maybe one last gasp to get into the 30s. But as for everyone else behind him, I think this may be the final lap. Checkered flag is out. Oh, and Tim looks like he spun out in the middle of the S, as it looks like. There's also Fausto going back on track from the grass. But a very impressive performance here by the Ford Roadster. A very unique car, I should say. Something I didn't expect to come out of this series. But nonetheless, it's proven its worth with a 129.8. It currently sits at the top of Clubman class. Question is, will it be able to retain that for the next session? Everyone else has finished their final laps, only waiting for Tim Lord's Ford and the Ford Roadster Fausto. Across the line for Tim, very impressive 31.017, so close to getting down to the 33s, but more importantly, the consistency. And as we look here, standings are the results for the first session of Clubman. Fausto with the Ford Roadster with a 129.8. Tim Lord, the Sierra. I'm sorry, I kept I kept referring to it as the Escort. The Sierra RS Cosworth with a 131.017. Not far behind is John with the BMW M3 with a 131.304. These are the only two drivers in the 131s. Tex being the only driver in the 132s in the S2000 with a 132.607. Max McKetty in the M3, a very nice first run in the M3 with the 134.116, and not far behind Big NFL in the Integra Type R with a 134.689. Now we're heading on to our next session, the first session of the modified class. Looks like everyone is readied up. We'll start the next session, which is the first session of the modified class. Now we're getting some faster cars on track right now. The modified class is a PP limit of 650 PP and on sport soft tires, much grippier tires to handle the increased power. Now for the club, for compared to Clubman class, which would offer little to no room for tuning parts, there's a lot there's a lot more room in the modified class. But unlike unlimited, there's a lot more room for parts and stuff in these cars. But everyone would still have to make a choice whether to focus on handling by reducing weight or just add as much power as they can before they reach the PP limit. It's the unique challenge of this modified class. So it's a variety of cars. As we see here, Tim Lore in the S2000, Don T in the NSX, Fausto in the Porsche 911, NFL in the Corvette C8, and Max Maggetti in another E36, 46, BMW M3, a much faster one compared to the one he had at in the Clubman class. Now got our first laps of the session. Don setting the pace with a 123.8. NFL in second with a 125.7, but loses it coming onto the line. Tim in the S2000 with a 125.9. Fausto with a 137.4 in the Porsche. And Max with a 127. I'm guessing Fausto also made some mistake during his first flying lap. As we're definitely going to be seeing cars tumbling down into the mid 120s in this session. Looking here, John's NSX during the preseason test last week at Laguna Seca. This was a very fast car. Remember, it's also a hybrid. In addition to being four-wheel drive. While it's definitely got weight, thanks to its drivetrain, it's got more than enough power to make up for it. Oh, going wide across the line. NFL setting up for the start of his lap. Meanwhile, Fausto comes up with a much faster 134.175 in the Porsche. Looks like he's struggling a bit to find pace right now, but there's plenty of time. There's 15 minutes left to get used to this track and find some more pace. Tim currently purple through sector 1. He missed it. We missed the graphic by how much, but but the purple time really tells us a story. But look at the difference at the straight line speed, at the back straight. John almost reaching 270 kilometers an hour before braking. Tim will have to use all the cornering potential of the S2000 to gain ground on that NSX's lap time. That's his personal best of the session so far with a 125.095. Still 1.2 seconds off of the NSX with the one still sitting on a 123.8. Fausto now drops down to the 120s with a 127.214 in the Porsche. And a cool drift through turn 1, but I doubt that's gonna help his lap time. NFL also posting a personal best of 125.477 in the C8 Corvette. Ooh. John once again drifts through the final corner with a 123.835, close to his personal best, while Tim Lohr improves down to the 124s with a 124.6, now only 8 tenths behind the NSX. Question is, does it have enough in the corners to find 8 tenths? Also jumping up to third with a 125.4, slowly but surely getting up to pace in that Porsche 911. 68 thousandths ahead of the C8 Corvette of Big NFL. John currently 0.345 seconds up on his purple time. If he finishes this, he'll be at least in the 123.5s. Oh, a little bit sketchy, but he makes it in the 123.459, the new fastest lap of the session. Tim Lohr improves again with the 124.517. He's just squeezing every bit of lap time he can get out of that S2000. Fausto jumps up to second with a 124.261. It's going to be a close fight here at the top. NFL improves to a 125.228, finds 2 tenths of his previous personal best. Max sets his personal best at a 127.434, a tenth faster than his previous personal best. Oh, a bit of a sketchy exit out of turn one there. Probably took a bit too much speed going into the corner. NFL improving now down to the 124s with the 124.920 in the C8. Only 4 tenths off of Tim Lord's time. Well, Tim Lord only 0.256 away from the Porsche of Fausto. Only a little over 8 minutes left in the session. It's still anyone's game. There's a lot of laps to be run within that 8 minutes. Tim, loses it after going wide out of the final turn, trying to get as much lap time as he could. If Fausto coming across the line now. 124.8 that last lap. Just pointing the nose of that Porsche going into turn one. Letting all that rear grip handle the rest of the work. You love to see it. NFL spins out of the SS. Probably took too much curve with the inside there. Taking a look here at the current modified leader, John T in his NSX. Oh, going wide through the S's. That's gonna ruin the lap. Hold it, hold it. Nicely saved there. Could have been dangerous. Again, the Porsche drifting through turn, but drifts it a bit too much this time. Fausto can find a better line through setting himself up for the S's. He's gonna be looking to gain so much time. But right now, that Porsche going through turn one is a real handful. Might be the only way he could turn the nose in that quickly, but it's always carries the risk. Going in too hot, drifting in too much, like he did at the start of this lap. While Tim in the S2000 is just a cornering machine, as we all know it. But it's definitely lacking in the straight line speed. And here at Road Atlanta, with the back straight being 1.24 kilometers long. That's a big deficit to have. Still, he's hanging on there, and he's still, I'm gonna guess he still has a few more tenths left in him. Maybe enough to fight with the Porsche for second place. Also just modulating the throttle through the S's. been a wild drive. Yet another wild drive from him. He's currently up on his personal best. 1.185 tenths up. Drifts through the first of the right-handers. Guessing he's gonna do the same for the second. Gently rides the curbs on the inside. Floors the throttle out, going back to the back straight. Three tenths, almost 4 tenths up right now in his personal best. He's looking to go down to the 23s if he keeps this up. Keeps the car in third to avoid wheel spin from the turbo. $23,596. He's now just 0.137 away from the NSX. He's really close now to Tim's S2000. Tim lets him by. Oh, and Fausto, just a bit off shot there, drifts through the first of the two right-handers here. John goes into the pits, gets a set of new tires, probably with the old set being overheated. Series has no tire and fuel wear, but regardless, tire temperature is still a thing. John might be coming in for a new set to replace his overheated ones. Has to remember to take it a bit easy on the outlap, so he has a lot more room to play with on the actual flying lap. Only 2 minutes remaining in the session. I'm looking to stick close to the Porsche, maybe stick with him close enough so he can get a tow down the back straight. These three cars, the top three, are all gunning for more lap time right now. They are not cruising to the finish. Much more team exit there. Tim Lore's close though. That Porsche will pull away, but if Tim can get just enough draft, might help him close that gap. Go. Outlap finish. John is on his final lap. Top three all on their final laps right now. A little bit ahead of him in the track is Max getting in the BMW. Also now in his final lap. John goes a bit deep into the S's but still saves it. Hopefully he didn't get dirty tires from it. Keeps it pinned through the last two turns. Floors it on the exit. Will he gain time though this thing? No, he's losing time. He's lost 3 tenths against his personal best. Oh, and Fausto crashes on the final lap. Pushing just a bit too hard on the S's. That leaves it for Tim Lore and John to improve. John gaining time in Sector 2, now only 0.170 from his purple time. If he can get through the final sector, he'd gone through 10A, 10B real quick. Keeps it floored through the final corner. I'm assuming he's not. Oh, he lifted a bit. Improves to 123.276 in the final lap. And seals the deal with an impressive victory in the modified. Well, at least in this session. Currently sits at the top of modified with a 123.4. Fausto brings the car home. Still a second place in this session with a 123.596. The gap just 320 from John. Him coming close a few occasions, but proving unable to improve in his 124.5. NFL with a 124.9, finishing in the C8. And Max McEddy with a 127.226. It's gonna be another close fight here in modified, with John and Fausto being only 3/10 apart from each other. Tim Lohr in NFL over a second behind the leaders, but only 4/10 separating the both of them. And Max in the BMW M3 still has another session to look for improvement from that 127.226. Now we're moving on to the first session of the Unlimited class. No PP limits on this one. Racing hard tires. Engine swap cars and ultra tuning parts are all available in this class. Here we go, a new variety of cars popping up right now. Oh, looks like we're having some connection troubles with John. Hopefully, he can get back into the lobby. was a bit of technical issues caused the delay, but now we are green for the first session of the unlimited class. As the name implies, it's no holds barred in this class. Fit any ultra part you want, take as much weight of the car as you want, even engine swapping. As we look now at Cross's R34 GTR, which I know has the engine from the R92 CP Le Mans prototype. And here we have Tim Lohr in the S14 fitted with a Corvette V8, chasing down John T's Mazda 3, fitted with the 787B 4-rotor and the contact. Oh, welcome to Unlimited, baby. It's a nice balance of cars here. Also Fausto with another Mazda 3 that also has the 4-rotor, judging by the sound of the car. Max in the Alfa Romeo Giulia. Really fast car as is. Next in the C7 Corvette. And NFL in the Dodge Challenger, which I'm guessing is fitted with the Hellcat engine. It's gonna be wild. Currently we have 7 cars on track, 3 of which are 4-wheel drives. Quite a surprising turnout. I was actually expecting more people to go towards the 4-wheel drives. But hence is the variety offered here in Unlimited class, especially with the engine swap options. John now setting the pace with a 120.466. That's 3 seconds faster than his lap time in the NSX's the modified class. Cross just blows it out of the water with a 114.851 the R34 GTR. Almost 10 seconds faster than the currently fastest modified car. 5.6 ahead of John's car, and now Fausto goes faster with a 118.815 in the same Mazda 3. Max in the Alfa Giulia goes for his current personal best of 122.1. Vertex coming across the line with a 117.4 in the Corvette C7. Look at how fast the R34 is. 340 kilometers an hour, breaking into 10A and 10B. NFL setting the pace in his Dodge Challenger with a 122.3 as we see Cross going wide out there. I'm guessing he might have hit either curb or grass coming out of the final corner. Tim sets his first representative lap in the S14 with a 118.753, currently third fastest ahead of both Mazda 3s. John drifting out of the S's in the Mazda 3.
Making way for Tim in the S14 is on another flying lap. Here's Max and the Alpha Julia. Had a mistake of that lap, but set him up nicely for the start of his next one. Going through turn one, taking as much of the road as he can, setting himself up for the S's. Stops the car nicely there. Obviously, as you can see, he has traction control on, but given the power in these cars on racing hard tires, and he goes off. Turns in a bit too early for the S's, catches some grass and loses traction. Meanwhile, Tim improves to the 117s with a 117.849, only 0.420 behind the C7 Corvette of Tex. Looks like Cross is still looking to improve in the R34. He's got the Julia in front of him right now. As Max pulls to the side, makes way for the R34. Currently down on the sector 2 time, braking for 10A and 10B. That car just looks so planted. Even though probably behind the wheel, it's much more busy than what we see right now in the replay. Very unique car for time attack. NFL's Dodge Challenger with a Hellcat engine. Tim closes the gap to the Corvette with a 117.484. Only 55,000 separate these two cars right now. Tex looks like he's just going around trying to get his rhythm back and improve on that time and hopefully extend the lead to Tim Lauren, close the gap to Cross. He's looking to be a favorite right now. Oh, and where's this? Oh, the second right-hander. Looked like he might have come through the first right-hander a bit too wide, caught some grass and spun himself out, ended up at the other side of the track. Nonetheless, car still going strong, probably still on dirty tires, but hopefully it clears out by the time he reaches the start-finish line. Currently Fausto and NFL are in the pits. Maybe trying to make some setup changes. We only have 11.5 minutes left in this session. Also getting back out of the pits right now. Hopefully he has found some setup changes that will help. Cross currently purple, a 10.5 up in his personal best. Letting the car stop just enough. Using all of the exit curve there in the second right-hander. Lost some time there, but still up on his best lap. A marginal improvement, but just goes to show how much more time he has left in that R34. Oh, and finds a lot of improvement in sector 3, goes up to a 114.391, stretching that gap ever so slightly. It's already big as it is. Oh, we got a gaggle of cars here. Tex, Fausto, and what John, and what looks like NFL earlier, just off frame in that at the rear of that pack. Him looked like he had an off in the the final sector, probably through 10A or in between 10A and 10B. Managed to set himself up nicely for his next lap. He only needs 55 thousandths of a second and goes wide out of turn one. It might have been still dirty tires when he went off there. Those dirty tires might not have cleared off, and it's now back again. He'll probably have to spend the rest of the lap just taking it easy, waiting until those tires clear up. Tex in the pits right now. Getting a new set of tires. Interesting. Maybe like in the modified class, we have tires overheating right now here at Road Atlanta, while Cross improves, finds a 10th, goes up to a 114.253. Will we see a time in the 13s here for Cross? Tex getting a new set of racing hard tires. Hopefully this means he can go faster. Try and extend that gap to Tim Lore. Oh, it looks like whatever setup changes Fausto did is currently working. He's currently almost 3 seconds up on his... Oh, no, it goes wide. It just goes wrong. He just goes over the grass a little bit there and loses traction on the left side tires. He did go off all 4 off track here, so he's gonna have to deal with dirty tires. Hopefully it doesn't attack too hard here at 10A and 10B, because he's definitely not gonna have as much grip. But this is a car to watch out for. He's definitely found pace with that setup change that he did. Oh, and John and NFL did they come together, these two cars? Through the S's. Both of them go off. Oh, and it looks like they did. John goes deep into the first of the double right-handers. Well, let's look back at the other Mazda 3. 3 seconds faster right now. Tim with a 117.458. Not quite enough to overtake Tex yet, but just closing that gap ever so slightly. 29 thousandths now between these two cars. But the rate Fausto is going, he looks to be jumping straight to second. .276, definitely going to be jumping straight to second in this Mazda 3. Tapping the brakes slightly here. 115.497, but goes wide out of the final corner. That definitely will ruin his next lap, but it's more than enough. Puts him up in second place, 1.24 behind Cross, and almost 2 seconds ahead of the next car, the C7 Corvette of Tex. Looks like the tire change is helping out a bit, as Tex's first flying lap after the tire change is 118.1. Tim just going wide out of turn 1. Probably took too much speed going into that corner. Thankfully, he only dipped 2 wheels off the grass, so it doesn't give him dirty tires on all 4, but that car is hard to handle. Got over 1,000 horsepower with that V8. Like much of these cars. John struggling in the 4-rotor Mazda 3, unable to find pace. His best lap so far has been a 120.4. 3 seconds behind Tim Lore's S14, and Oh, and Fausto's in the wall at the exit of the final corner. Getting it wrong there. I don't know if he was on an improving lap. Definitely struggling. Trying to find some pace here. 1.5 up on his best lap. But he is still 5 seconds off of the next Mazda 3 of Fausto. Cross now goes into the 113s with a 113.902. R34 is fast. John now almost draws level with the other Mazda 3, goes up to third with a 116.578. Only a second off of Fausto, who's still looking to improve on his time. And Cross is still looking to go much faster in this R34 GTR. Vertex managing to extend the gap just a bit with a 117.3. That gap was 29 thousandths of a second earlier, now grows to 0.157 seconds. Well, Tim Lord just hustling the S14 around, looking to make gains wherever he can. Max improves on his personal best in the Julia with a 21.151, excuse me. Oh, but he's got the fast Mazda 3 of John T behind him right now. Makes way in the middle of the S's, but I think that would have been too late. But there's still plenty of time left in this session. Almost 2 minutes left. Everyone would still have enough time to go around for one more lap after this. Oh, and that's NFL spinning out in the entrance of 10A. Good thing is he was half spun across the track surface, so I don't think he'd have any dirty tires. But no, puts down a power a bit too early, crashes into the wall at the inside of the final corner. Those rear tires may be overheated. Now he crawls back into the pits. Hopefully it gets him into there. He's in. But will he I don't think he has enough time left to go for another lap. Does not take tires, just goes through the pits. Ross currently with a dominant 113.9, but the Mazda 3s aren't far away now that they've found pace towards the end of this session. Fausto currently on a 115.5. And John not far away with a 116.5. Meanwhile, the gap's unchanged between Tex and Tim. And Fausto goes into the pits, or went back into the pits to go back out. But I don't think there's any time left. Cross 3/10 down at the end of sector 1 on his best lap. Tex just took the checkered flag, and now it's up to Timlor. Can he close that gap? Can he overtake Tex? Right now, the answer is yes. 0.190, just enough through sector 1. If he keeps up this pace, he'll be finishing the session in 4th. Still not fully on the power, going down the back straight. 3rd gear, still not going. 4th gear is when he gets onto the power. Full throttle. Now he's down in his best lap, but can he find it? Can he take enough speed through 10A and 10B? Wheel spinning, cars wanting to drift. He improves but doesn't get it with a 117.324. He's still 23 thousandths off of Texas time. And John sets a new personal best, closes the gap significantly to Fausto with a 115.590. The gap between the two Mazda 3s now just 93 thousandths of a second. It's close. And here we have the results of the first session of Unlimited. Crossing the Nissan Skyline R34 GTR with a dominant 113.9. That car has been so much faster than everything else in this session. And the Mazda 3s of Fausto and John in 2nd and 3rd respectively, struggling early on to the first half of that session, but finding pace near the end, finishing only 93 thousandths away from each other, or 97 thousandths away from each other. That is amazing. 4th, we have Tex and the C7 Corvette. Another close battle here with Tim and the S14 Sylvia. We have Max and the Alpha Giulia with a 121.1. Still a lot of time left to find in that car, as well as NFL and the Dodge Challenger. And now we're going to be looking to take it a step back as we go into the second sessions. We are back on track, this time for the second session, which is now in the afternoon for track time. Compared to the first session of Clubman, we now have a much bigger field. Tim Lore's still out here with his Sierra RS. Max in his E46 M3. A new addition now, Leadfoot in the Mark I Golf GTI. Vex returning back on track with the Honda S2000. NFL with the Tasha Integra. Cross still sitting in the pits right now in the Celica GT4. And Fausto also still in the pits in the Ford Roadster. Just to remind everyone, the current fastest lap for the Clubman class is a 129.836, set by Fausto in the Ford Roadster. But that's going to be the time everyone's going to be aiming for to beat in order to claim the victory for Clubman in this opening round of the Vertex Super Lap Series here at Road Atlanta. Now we have Cross on an outlap. Tim jumping back into the pits during his flying lap. Maybe to change his setup. Probably found something weird on his car and wanted to change it. You can't do that in this series, as the game does allow you to go back into the pits during the in-game qualifying. So does Cross in the Celica. Which leaves Max as our first car on track to set a representative lap time. A 133.931. Already faster than his first session lap time. His first session best lap was a 134.116. Definitely seeing some improvements here. Could beat the track times working well for these cars. We'll see. Vex's first lap is a 138.100. His previous best lap in the first session was a 32.6, so still far away. Also NFL with a 135.679 in the Integra. His current best lap is a 134.689. Be interesting to see what Cross can do with the Celica GT4. It is worth noting that John won't be participating in any of the second sessions, but right now he sits in third in Clubman class with a 131.304. The BMW M3. We have Leadfoot setting his first two flying laps in the Golf Mark 1 with a 134.818. Tex running a 133.465 in the S2000, still slower than his fastest lap in the first session. But comfortably ahead in first in this session so far. Interesting choice here for Cross. He's put a diffuser in his Celica GT4. Normally in the Clubman class, adding a diffuser gives you more downforce, which increases the PP rating of the car, probably hereby limiting your choices for upgrades. Maybe he has a reason to get so much. Maybe he has a reason to get so much rear downforce on that Celica, but who knows? Let's see if it pays off. Currently purple by almost half a second. Looking at a time in the 32s if this keeps on. We have Tim coming up to the end of sector 1. Much faster, half a second faster than, almost half a second faster than Cross. Almost a second faster than the current best lap at a 133.46. Cross going as fast as 232 kilometers per hour, braking for 10A and 10B. Misses the apex a bit in the 10A, but recovers in 10B. Hopefully that four-wheel drive traction saves him. And a 132.926, the first flying lap of the Celica GT4. While Tim in the Ford Sierra goes fastest with a 132.0, but still slower than his best lap. Tim's best lap from session 1 was a 131.017. He definitely has some more time to gain here. Vertex going deep in the 10A, try to recover with 10B, but also overcooked it, but set himself up nicely for the next lap. This one, oh, losing the rear bit in the final corner, trying to get as much speed on exit. Hopefully that didn't cost him. The Lightfoot's car reminds me of something. It looks like a Hot Wheels car. It might be, actually. It might just be based off a Hot Wheels car. Goes wide out of the S's. Throws up a bit of gravel there. Hopefully he didn't get dirty tires from that. Ooh. Some wheel spin out there. Tim improves slightly, go down to the 31s with a 31.949. Still 9/10 off his personal best. If he wants to improve on his personal best, he needs to set a 130. NFL in the Integra goes faster with a 134.647. He's now faster than his previous best in session 1. Fausto takes the lead with a 131.733 in this session. Still 2 seconds off his personal best from session 1 with which was 129.836. Spins out going into the S's. That front left is cooking. Maybe graphical. It may just be graphics, but that front left looked like it was really cooking. Also, crosses looks like he's improved. He's set a 131.963. Goes for another improvement with a 131.873. Jumps ahead of Tim. 0.076, 76 thousandths of a second between the Celica GT4 and the Sierra Cosworth. However, Tim's also in the fast lap of his own. Goes fastest with a 131.246, only 0.2 off his personal best. Will we see an answer from Cross? Tex is now back into the 32s with a 32.961. Only 0.3 off his personal best from the previous session. Max is in the pits right now, getting a new change of tires. Is the afternoon session making the tires overheat a bit more? That is the question. It certainly doesn't seem to be the case for some of our cars right now, some of the faster cars going out on track right now, but that might be what will happen as the session draws on. Also looking to take it a bit easy in this session. He still has a very comfortable lead on the overall standings of the Clubman class. Remember, his best lap was a 29. And right now, Tim is still running slower than his personal best from the last session. There's still plenty of time to be made here. Approaching 7 minutes left in this session. Pretty much the end for the Clubman class. Cross is steadily improving, now at 131.806, slight improvement over his previous best. Another improvement with a 131.792, marginal gains here from Cross. Lightfoot, meanwhile, still sitting at a personal best of a 134.771. The Mark 1 Golf. Max, having changed his tires, has finished his out lap and is now on his first flying lap with that new set. Will it be an improvement? Him currently only 6 thousandths off his personal best in this session. Tex improves in the S2000 with a 132.680. Only 0.08 away from his personal best in the previous session. If he can get into the lower 132s, he'll be improving. Oh, and takes a bit too much there in the inside curve. Rotates the car just enough. Oh, but touches gravel at the exit of the S's. Just goes a bit too wide. Loses 0.3 in sector 1.
Fausto taking. We missed it, but Fausto takes back the lead of this session with a 131.003. Still still around 2 seconds off, maybe a second and a half off his previous best. Right now he's sitting in first in this session, 2 tenths ahead of Tim's Ford Sierra. Gotta wonder, does Fausto have some more left in his tank to go faster than his previous best in the first session? He has a comfortable lead right now, but if he's found something in that Ford Roadster in the interval, gotta wonder just how much faster it can go. While Tim's consistently putting down low 31s, his previous two laps were 31.263 and a 2.94. Just within touching distance of his current personal best in this session, but still 2 tenths off his overall best. Gotta wonder for the Celica GT4 though, just how much is the rear diffuser helping that car as opposed to getting more power? NFL is in the pits in the Integra, changing tires as well. We haven't seen an improvement from Max, who did the same in the E46, but maybe he's also thinking about it. Fausto improves on his session best with a 130.649. Leadfoot in the Gulf improves with a 134.412. Goes 3 tenths faster than his previous personal best. Tim improves to a 131.127. Now he's just a tenth off his overall best. With John not out on track here in the second session, Tim has a solid hold on second place. But that Celica GT4 is not far behind. Fausto improves with a 130.1. He's getting so much closer. He's only 3 tenths off from his previous personal best, which was a 129.836. If he can find some more time, some more speed through Sector 1, we've seen it through the previous session where everyone else, Tim, Lore, and John, was much faster than the Ford Roadster through Sector 1. So if he can find some gains here, he'll definitely carry some more lap time at the end. Max finally improves in the E46
with a 133.807. Down to the 33 seconds. He's now faster than his overall best in the previous session. We're now in the final laps here. Who is making more improvements here at the end? Vertex comes across the line, doesn't improve. NFL comes across the line, also doesn't improve. We now have Cross. Improves to 131.5, but far off of Tim Lore still. Leadfoot crosses the start-finish line with horns blazing in the Golf Mark 1. An impressive showing. It also improves to 133.686. Great job on that Golf Mark 1. And here we have Tim. Improves to 130.946. Beats his overall best from the previous session. Now we'll get the overall results tabulated at the end of this event. But for the second session of Clubman, here we have Fausto with a 130.1 on the Ford Roadster, just slightly slower than his personal best during the first session. Timlor improving in the Sierra RS with a 130.946. Cross with an impressive 131.534 in the Toyota Celica GT4. But which is just a couple tenths short of John T's BMW M3. So looks like Cross is going to finish 4th overall for Clubman. Meanwhile, Big Tex in the S2000 does a 132.6, which is also the same as his previous best, but it wasn't an improvement. He finishes the event with a best of 132.607 from session 1. Leadfoot in the Golf 1 GTI with an impressive 133.686. Max McEddy in the M3 improves actually with a 133.807. His previous best was a 134.116. NFL slightly improves on the Integra here in the second session. His previous one was a 134.689. That's the end of the Clubman class. We're now going on to the second and final session of the modified class. It's going to be more interesting because the current leader for modified, John, won't be around to defend his place or improve his time for the second session. The door is open for everyone else to improve. Difference between then and now is we have more people running in the modified class for the second session, so John's time, while dominant in that session, isn't safe. especially with faster guys like Cross and Philo showing up now. Be interesting to see what they bring for modified class. Another interesting to note is has Tim found anything in between the two sessions to improve the cornering of that S2000? It's great right now, but it needs more power. Either he has to turn the engine up and put some ballast on the car to balance it out, or he just has to attack the corners so much harder. Of course, Fausto comes back with the 930 Porsche 911, who was only 3/10 off of John's NSX at the end of the first session. So if he can find some improvement, he can definitely take that first place away from John. Ross with a very interesting choice of car, a Mark IV Supra RZ, the very peculiar livery that he's told me about. It's the first time I've seen it. Livery of the AU Supra, the number 36 car running in the Super GT series. And look, it's even got the GR Super front vent. Just waiting for Philo to get on track. Tex, unfortunately, isn't participating in the modified class, so he'll be a spectator alongside the rest of us. You're now green for the final session of the modified class. We do have some new faces in this session. Tim Lore still in his S2000, NFL still in the Corvette C8, Leadfoot with a Cayman GT4. Interesting choice here for a modified class car. Definitely one to look out for, nonetheless. Philo, some off-track troubles there with a Fairlady Z, the new 370Z. And Max returns with his M3, Fausto in the 930 Porsche 911, and Cross in the A80 Toyota Supra RZ. Interesting fact here, ladies and gentlemen. Cross24 is a self-proclaimed Nissan GTR fan in Super GT, but then jumped ship to Toyota when they phased it out. He's supposed to be a Nissan fan. What's he doing driving a Toyota Supra? Anyway. Oh, that's not where the track goes, Cross. The final turn isn't until after the bridge. Oh, trouble there for the Toyota Supra. I would know. I've tuned that car in this game. I know how really, really bad it gets out of 10B. Following Tim Lore here now, looking to hold on. Currently third, the modified class, but looking to close the gap. Now that John's gone, he's still looking to close the gap to Fausto, who's much closer to the NSX at the end of the previous session. For reference, the fastest lap time in session 1 of modified was a 123.276 by John T in his NSX. Tim Lore, meanwhile, set a 124.517 in the previous session. He's now much closer, only 4/10 away now, right on the offset. Philo with a 124.951, the Fairlady Z. It'll be one to look out for as well. NFL with a 125.532 in the C8 Corvette. His previous best was a 124.920. And Leadfoot not far behind with a 125.622 in the Porsche Cayman. Max with the upgraded BMW M3. His first lap here in this session is a 128.846. His best lap from the previous session was a 127.2. So everyone really has a lot more time to find. Fausto setting the pace here with a 124.554. His previous best was a 123.596. So he has a second and change to find if he wants to take over the win in this session. NFL getting slightly closer to his personal best, now at a 125.163, only 2/10 away from improving his overall. Max with an improvement at a 127.491, only 2/10 away from his previous personal best of a 27.2. Ross taking his time in the pits, adjusting some settings, make the Supra a little bit more drivable around here. It is a tough car to tune, so I understand that. I can feel the struggle from here. Can see Philo's Fairly DZ having a very peculiar setup. That front is raised quite a bit. Actually, the whole car's right head is raised quite a bit. The tires are as big as they can be. Notwithstanding the lack of a livery here, but we'll get that sorted out at the end of the race. Or at the end of this whole event, I should say. Ross finally back out on track in the Supra. Hopefully the car behaves a bit more, well, it behaves a bit better for him this time around. That car has great potential around here. Just have to know what to do with it. Fausto improves on his current session best with a 124.0, only now half a second off his previous best. And 7/10 off the overall leader. NFL flying with a 124.1 on the C8. He's now blasted off his previous personal best. Tim improves to a 124.8. 3/10. Only 3/10 to go from his previous best. Philo jumps up to a 124.4, already passing Tim Lore's previous best. Following cross to see what his representative lap time in the Supra will be. 25.723, and Tim improves to a 124.7. Oh, loses the rear end a bit out of the S's. Just takes a little bit too much exit curb there on the Supra. Tim still looking to improve his time in the S2000. Currently a 10th up. That was a very clean third sector as well. 24.6, now just under a tenth off his personal best. Getting ever closer to the fairly easy of Philo. However, this Z might go faster as Philo has spent some time in the pits trying to do some setup changes. We're halfway into this session with just a little under 10 minutes left for the modified class. Max McKetty improves to a 126.880. He has now blasted off his previous personal best. His previous best was a 27.2. Overcooks the entry there. He probably missed the braking point into the S's. Takes advantage of the escape road, but still goes over the grass, so there'll be dirty tires for those sport softs. They'll have to be careful not to go into the corners too quickly because that car won't grip. I think he pulls off to the escape road to let another car by, which is Fausto. Cross currently back in the pits, trying to dial in the car a little bit more with a little over 8 minutes left in this session. If you can get it done if you can get it done soon, he'll have at least 3 more laps. Oh, it's so close right now. NFL only 28 thousandths off of the session fastest. Sitting comfortably in third right now is NFL. NFL can find some more improvements in that C8. He may just find enough to jump up to second place, maybe even first. That C8 is quick. Definitely has potential to take the win over the NSX. What I want to look out for here is Philo. That tuned transmission using all 8 gears all over the track. 6 gear through the first 2 turns. You can expect the acceleration in that fairly easy to be really quick. Lightfoot session best has been a 125.622. The very first flying lap he set. He's gotten close on a few occasions, but hasn't been able to find an improvement since. NFL, I think, went onto the pits to change tires. Again, getting a new set of sport softs with more optimal temperature. Fausto goes faster with a 123.7. It's a little a tenth and a half off his previous personal best. Well, Max keeps improving with a 126.786. Goes wide out of turn 1 into the S's though. An impressive improvement nonetheless. Six minutes left into the session. All the cars will have at least 4 laps left. Tim improves to a 124.566. Still just half a tenth shy of his previous personal best and spins the rear wheels going into turn 1. Needs to find a clear path for him to get back on the track too. No one's close by, so it's a safe move. But He did go all 4 off, so those tires are going to be dirty until at least the end of Sector 2. Lightfoot going purple through Sector 1. This might be an improvement on this lap if he can finish it. Oh, kicks the rear end out of the first of the two right-handers, but that set him up nicely at the second, and still the rear kicks out. An unstable rear end that came in GT4. Philo improves to 124.4, increasing the gap between him and Tim to 0.145, almost a tenth and a half between them, but still NFL with almost a 3/10 gap to the fairly easy C8 Corvette. Fausto getting close to his previous best, but it's still a tenth and a half off. Can he find more time in that 930? Cross improves to 125.512 in the Supra, goes into the 25-second range. Tim really attacking the S's in the S2000. Will it be a gain in lap time though? We'll have to see. 2/10 purple through Sector 1, but that S2000 is bound to lose time in the back straight. Right now, Tim's focus is just attacking 10A and 10B. Make sure to get as much speed through that double chicane and get as much speed on the run up to the line. Still 2/10 up on his current best lap. Very clean through 10A and 10B. All it's left is the last corner. Almost flat through there. 24.3 jumps up ahead of the fairly easy of Philo and improves on his previous personal best. Meanwhile, Cross finds more improvement in the Supra now in the lower 25-second range with a 125.251. Philo coming out of 10A and 10B, coming into the final corner. Does he have more time in hand? He does. It's a 124.239, jumping ahead of Tim Lord by 61 thousandths of a second. Tim Lord looks like he's still going faster in his lap time. He's still going purple through Sector 1 here. 21 thousandths blue right now. Not enough to overhaul Philo if he keeps on going like this, but maybe he can get a much faster final corner. Or do what Philo did and just go wide out of the line. Improves to a 24.243. Only 4,000 still behind Philo though. Running into the final minute of this session, everyone who crosses the line here will still have one flying lap left. Fausto crossing the line with only 30 seconds to go. Goes faster with a 123.589, matching his previous best from the previous session, but still 2/10 off John's NSX. NFL is going to be cutting it close, but he's got enough time. He has enough time for one more lap. Tim gets by Leadfoot. I think he had some toe on Leadfoot as well. He's almost 3 tenths up on his best lap right now. Might be a bit squirrely out of 10B, but still good exit, full throttle. Will he floor it off the line? He does. 124.135 jumps ahead of Philo by a tenth of a second. Is Philo improving? That's the question. Going down the back straight. Getting close to the timing line. We'll see if Philo's on a good lap. He's up. 0.173 up. All he needs to do is get a clean 10A and 10B. And if he goes through like this, he will overtake Tim Lore in the standings. Clean exit out of 10B. He just needs to floor it out the final corner. Go wide if you need to. Got it. 123.949. Even jumps NFL as well. Philo will finish the event in third place in modified class with that amazing final lap. A great effort here in the modified class session 2 by Fausto, but unfortunately not enough to overhaul John T's NSX. John T will finish the event in first place of modified class in the NSX with a time of 123.276. However, Fausto will take home second place with a lap time of 123.589. 7 thousandths of a second of an improvement over his previous best in session 1. Philo will take home third place in modified in the Fairlady Z with a 123.949 at the very last lap of the entire event. NFL jumps Tim Lore for fourth with a 124.125 in the C8 Corvette. However, Tim Lore in the S2000 only 10 thousandths of a second behind the C8. That is a very impressive feat in a car that was really struggling in the back straight. Cross would finish the event in sixth place in the Toyota Supra RZ with a lap time of 1 minute 25.251. Followed by Leadfoot in the Porsche Cayman with a 125.512 and an impressive improvement from Max McEddie in the BMW M3 with a 126.786, almost half a second faster than his previous best. Now we move on to what should be the main event. This whole thing, the final session of the Unlimited class.
And now at the final session of this event, second session of Unlimited, which is right now being led by Cross's Nissan Skyline R34 GTR, holding on to a really rapid lap time of a 113.902 from the previous session. We do have some newcomers in this class. Leadfoot Subaru BRZ engine swap with a 2JZ GTE from Toyota Supra. And Philo's R34 GTR. It'll be interesting to see the battle of the two R34s. Tim is back with his S14, with his V8 swap S14. His previous best was a 117.324. Currently sits 5th in class. X is ahead of him in the standings. Currently 4th in Unlimited. The C7 Corvette with a lap time of a 117.301 goes wide there at the end of the final corner. 30 tires on those racing slicks, so he has to be careful here. Fausto sitting second in the 4-rotor Mazda 3 with a 115.497. That sound is so sweet to hear. You'd love to hear it. NFL still sitting in the pits with his Dodge Challenger. Currently sits 7th in class with a 122.374. Now Philo's out on track with his own Nissan Skyline R34 GTR. Ooh, just
cooks it straight into the S's. Cross starts the session off real quick with a 1:15.684. 1.7 seconds off his previous best, but much faster than what everyone else has done so far. Tim's first lap of the session is a 1:22.058. He's currently 5 seconds off his personal best, so there's still more time to gain. Leadfoot in the BRZ, the 2JZ BRZ sets a lap time of 1:20.478. Impressive considering that car has a very limited rear end. Now have Philo back out on track doing some setup changes in his R34. Hopefully he's got them all sorted out so we can see a fight between the two R34s. Maybe when Fausto gets up to pace in that four-wheel drive Mazda 3 actually goes fast in the session with a 1:15 dead. Overcooks turn 1 straight away. And Cross answers back with a 1:14.763. Also goes wide out of turn 1. These cars are looking like dragsters trying to deploy a parachute that isn't there going into turn 1. Tim improves with a 1:18.096, only a second off his personal best. Sorry, 7/10 off his personal best from the previous session. Quickly going up to pace in that S14 V8 swap. Vertex goes faster with a 1:17.663 in the C7 Corvette. However, Tim is already more than half a second up on his previous best right now. But he has the R34 GTR of Philo right on his tail and is catching quick. Those prototype engine swap R34s are no joke on the straights. Let's look at how fast Philo is gonna get before he brakes. 330. I think that gearing is a bit too short. I remember seeing Cross's R34 going as far as 350 kilometers an hour before needing to brake for the straight. There might have been contact as well going into the braking zone as Philo was trying to get by the S14. But still sets a fastest lap of 1:14.022, really close there to the overall fastest lap by Cross in the previous session. Now can Cross answer back? He is looking to answer back. 27 thousandths faster through sector 1 than Philo. Goes deep into the first of the two right-handers, but sets the car up nicely. Goes on throttle really early out of the second one. Onto the back straight we go. It's a crosswind right now, so the cars are going to be relying solely on their engine power for braking. 340 kilometers an hour, 10 kilometers an hour faster than Philo's car. But can it make up all that time? .14.2 for Cross, not enough. Gets on the grass and into the wall of the main straight. With a close battle for 4th and 5th right now. Tim looking to be in slipstream range with the C7 Corvette. However, the acceleration of that Corvette is nothing to look at. Oh my god, that's the fastest we've seen any car go through here. I thought Cross's R34 was fast. This car is going almost 350 down the back straight before braking. It's an unruly car, that's for sure. Fausto fresh out of the pits after doing what looked like a setup change, and now in his first flyer, the Mazda 3 4-rotor. Loses the back end at the end of the S's. Leadfoot improves in the BRZ with a 120.335. Already considerably faster than Max McEddy's Alpha Julia and NFL's Dodge Challenger from the previous session. Tim's got off in between the two right-handers, it looks like. Listen to that four-rotor howl as Fausto navigates 10A and 10B in that Mazda 3. Going through the final corner, what time are we going to see from this car? 115.068. Got potential for more. NFL goes faster than his previous personal best in the Dodge Challenger with a 121.392. A second faster than his previous best, which was a 22.3. Wow, we have Philo here in a flying lap after some more setup changes. He's a 10th purple right now on his own best lap. If he finishes this, he'll be taking over, well, has the potential to take over the overall lead of Unlimited. He improves with a 113.6. He is now 3/10 clear of Cross's R34 from session 1. Can Cross answer back with a lap time of his own? Currently not, as he's 3/10 off his own personal best. We're now halfway to the final session of this event. 10 minutes left in this Unlimited Class second session. Tex is back in the pits, getting some new tires, probably replacing some overheated slicks, looking to improve and extend the gap to Tim Lore's S14. Tim Lore currently almost 3/10 faster than his personal best, going to the first of the two right-handers. If he can nail this cleanly, he has a good chance for a good run down the back straight. No cars around him right now, it's just him all the way to 10A and 10B. Oh, we got a spinner at the entrance of the double chicane. It's NFL's Dodge Challenger, but safely off the road. Tim Lord down to the 17, 6/10 of an improvement. He's now at a 117.455. Only a 10th off his previous best, which was 117.354. Cross improves to the 113.720, but it's not enough. He's still 90 thousandths off Philo's best. Philo currently on an outlap after another batch of setup changes. He's dialing the car in. Hopefully, those changes would mean a much faster lap time. Philo looking to wrap this thing up, going into the mid or even low 13s. Cross is answering back in his own R34.
Not a good lap on this one, but he could just focus on setting it up. Get the exit out of the bridge right. A bit wide of the apex there, but still full throttle going into turn one. Pulls the car in just enough, ends up in the middle of the road. Going into the S's, takes the inside curb. Full throttle, then brake just to get the car rotated. Up into the uphill left at the end of the S's. Stable as you can be, but wide out of there. Throw some gravel up, 8/10 off. Meanwhile, Philo having a good exit out of the second of the double right-handers. Let's see what his lap time's going to be in. Timing line at the end of sector 2, going into 10A and 10B, 62 thousandths purple. Slow it down, get the power on early, going up to the bridge and the long right-hander, leaving up to the start-finish line. What lap time is Philo's R34 gonna do? Doesn't improve, misses it by about a tenth of a second. Goes back into the pits. We have 6 minutes left. He has enough time to make some setup changes and do at least 2 more flying laps. Meanwhile, Cross is staying out on track, just trying to get a good lap together. That car feels good for him right now. He just needs to put the lap together. There's only 90 thousandths of a second between them, less than a tenth. That's for the overall win. Timlor improving on the 117, 455, jumping up, beating his previous best, and jumping up ahead of Tech's C7 Corvette in this session. However, take note, Tech's previous best was 117.3. Timlor is still a tenth and a half off of it. He needs to find more time if he wants to take 5th place in this event. John T's car is currently sitting in 4th with a 115.9 in another 4-rotor Mazda. It's a really good exit, good line out of 10A and 10B, good exit. Just needs to get a good run to the line, squirrely on the throttle there. 117.385, not quite enough to overthrow the C7 Corvette in the overall. That C7 of Tex has an overall best of a 301, a 117.301. Right now, Tim is 84 thousandths off of that. He needs at least a tenth of a second to jump up the standings here. Mudfoot currently in the pits in the 2JZ powered Subaru BRZ. NFL still out on track on the Hellcat powered Dodge Challenger, with the overall leader right behind them, Philo in the R34 GTR. But he's gonna get blocked here. That Challenger in front of him is going to slow down his lap time, that's for sure. But both of them are in flying laps, so it's like, oh, and NFL loses it on the back straight. Philo setting it up here. 3 minutes left in this session. Tim improves to 116.9, jumps up ahead of the Corvette by quite a bit. 4/10 now the gap between them, the overall. Tex closes the gap to a 117.076. Now this is a close battle. They are now both improving on their previous best, which means whatever they put out here in this final session will determine their final standing. Cross right now is still closing in on that lap time. He's done 13.9 the last lap, a 14.2 the previous lap before that. He's desperately trying to find that 1/10 to overthrow the other R34. Clean exit out of the S's there, but is still a 10th off his personal best. Oh, and Tex goes up back ahead of Tim with a 116.793 in the C7 Corvette. Almost 2/10 now the gap between this car and the V8 S14. And there's only a little over a minute left. Oh, and Tim loses at the end of the S's. NFL improves massively with a 120.926. Half a second still off of the BRZ, but 2 seconds faster now than his previous best in the first session. I don't think Tim will have enough time. I think, wait. No, he does. Tim will have enough time to get to the line and get another lap. One final chance to get back at the C7 Corvette, which is running right behind him on track as we speak. Both of these cars will have one final chance to settle the score. Who will take home 5th place? The Unlimited class, the opening round of the Vertex Super Lap Series. Hilo has started his final lap. Cross is on his final lap. If he doesn't get it here, Philo gets the win. Doesn't get it. Last lap was a 114.0. Philo will get the win of the Unlimited class in an R34 GTR. A battle of the R34 GTRs coming up ahead by only 90 thousandths of a second. But he still has a chance to improve. He's on his final lap. Meanwhile, the battle for 5th is still strong between Tim Lore and Tex. It looks like Tim has opened up quite a bit of gap between himself and Tex. Will he improve? No, 117.4, not enough. Philo improves with a 113.5 to seal the win. That was an amazing battle for the overall win in the Unlimited class between two R34 Skyline GTRs. But in the end, it was RA Philo that takes home the win with a lap time of a 113.552. Cross finishes second with an improvement over his previous best, finishing with a lap time of a 113.720. Fausto settles for third with a lap time of a 115.068. 4/10, almost half a second improvement over his previous best in the previous session. Overall, John T will finish 4th
And another four-rotor Mazda 3 with a lap time of a 1:15.590. Tex taking it at the end. Fifth place goes to him in the Corvette C7 with a lap time of 1:16.793. And Tim fought hard to the end, but finishes sixth in the V8 powered S14 Silvia, 1:16.984. Leadfoot will finish seventh in the 2JZ powered BRZ with a lap time of 1:20.335. NFL finishes eighth, in improving on his previous lap time in the Challenger, a Hellcat powered Challenger, with a 1:20.926. And wrapping up the unlimited class grid will be Max McKetty in the Alfa Romeo Giulia with a 1:21.151 in session 1. It's been a really nail-biting event here on all classes. Close battles, a dominant win by the Ford Roadster and Clubman, the NSX holding on to win in the modified class, but close battles all over, and a really great fight for the win here in the unlimited class between two R34 GTRs. And that wraps up the opening round of the Vertex Super Lap series here at Road Atlanta. We'll see you next week where we go to Watkins Glen International. We hope to see you guys there next week.